Yes, folks, it's John G. Sutton here. Tales from the jails. We're talking today about the Ministry of Justice. On Radio 4 this morning, they were discussing a problem that the Ministry of Justice has got. They have a report that stated that they are drastically and rapidly losing control of the prison system. Now, this isn't a report that's published for the public, but it had come to the attention of certain investigative journalists, and they're stating that they can't recruit prison staff, they're drastically short of staff, the prison system is massively overcrowded, and that the ancient Victorian jails are falling to pieces and are effectively beyond repair. As you can imagine, they would be. I mean, considering we've got jails like Strangeways, which is what, 160 years old, yeah. Then we've got Armley Jail, which is nearly 200 years old. We've got Wormwood Scrubs, which is about 130 years old. They're all centuries old. I mean, where do we go from here? And they're falling to pieces, and they're inner city jails. What they're going to do, my prediction is, I mean, this is was part of the problem that they were discussing on Radio 4, was that they're going to sell off the inner city sites and remove the main prisons, like Wormwood Scrubs, Pentonville, Wandsworth, take them out of the city centre and put them into the sticks. I mean, of course, the problem that they've got with recruiting staff in the city centres is that the staff aren't paid sufficient money to actually allow them to live in that area. And so what are they doing? Well, we've seen what they're doing. They're recruiting teenage girls. As disgraceful as that may seem, that is what they're doing. That's the plan, you see. I mean, there's something wrong with this system. They've got. Listen, I'm telling you, this is absolutely. I know this for a fact. The government have got what's known as a psychological think tank, and they work together to devise programs. The ministers will say we need to reduce traffic in central London and all the main cities. Sit down, your intellectuals come up with a plan. So a lot of these barn pots, let's be honest about it, let's get the facts straight, they're bloody out their heads. They come up with this daft idea that the ultra low emission zone. Yeah, and then what they're going to do next is they're going to have people paying so much per mile. Well, great, but what about the people who are delivering parcels for Amazon? I mean, they could very well be delivering parcels for Amazon in remote areas, and they could run up, I don't know, 150 miles a day. And I don't know if they're charging, 10 pence a mile or whatever they're going to charge. Where does it all end? What will happen here is, and I'm quite sure of this, they're going to lose control of the prisons. They are. They can't control them. They've got inmates being locked in there 23 hours a day. Now, I don't know if anybody's here experienced what that's like. I mean, I've worked it, but I haven't been in the cell. But I've been ill, and at times when you can't get out of your room, when you're ill, you get really brassed off. I mean, that's me with my freedom. I can get my wife to get me a glass of ginger beer or a chocolate biscuit or something like that. But you can't do that when you're banged up in a cell with a couple of other blokes for 23 hours a day. And the problem is, of course, that the people you're going to be banged up with are not likely to be intellectuals. They're likely to be the rough and ready types. I'm not saying that all prisoners are like that, because clearly they're not. But there's a great chance that if you get yourself into a cell with a couple of other strangers, that at least one of them's going to be rather rough and ready, probably semi-literate, and certainly unable to converse in any kind of meaningful manner. And very likely, if they've got radios, Xboxes, computers and all that, they'll be playing them at quite a loud volume, which will, over a period of time, push any reasonable thinking adult male to the edge, where they say, I can't take this anymore. Well, the fact is that the prison system, can't take this anymore. There's no reason for, I would say, a good 50% of the people who are in prison being there. They're not there as a real form of punishment, no. What they're there for is to show society that unless you actually comply and you follow the rules and regulations, you pay your rates, pay your tax, pay your gas, pay your water bill, just keep paying. Just give it to us. Now think about this. What is the tax rate in Britain? How much do you think you pay? So you earn £1, you're alright, 40 pence of your pound goes into income tax. Yeah. Then, of course, on top of that, you've got to pay 20% VAT. So that's 60 pence out of £1, that you're paying. But that's not it, is it? You've got to pay national insurance as well. Last time I checked, I think it was 13 pence, in the pound. So that's 73 pence in the pound. So you're down to 28 pence, 27 pence. That's what you've got out of the pound. That's what you've earned. Yeah, and they're taking the rest. And if you buy beer or you buy petrol or whatever it is, then there's additional taxes on that. So you probably actually, when you average it out for your pound that you're earning, you're going to work for this, you're actually only spending probably about 20 pence. So they're taking 80% of your earnings in tax. What are they doing with it? I'll tell you what they are doing with it to a certain extent. They're giving money to India. Did you know that? Probably about 500 million a year, maybe more than that, given to India, as X parts of the Commonwealth, So what do India do with this? Have a look in the newspapers. India have put a rocket up on going onto the moon. Yeah, India. Yeah. 500 million a year or something like that, we're paying them. We are, English taxpayers, sending this over. And they're sticking rockets up on the moon. We've got people coming over, illegal migrants. They want to stay in the hotels. They don't want to stay in the barge. I mean, it's a disgrace that they should do that, stay in a barge, a prison hulk in the 21st century. But they won't go on. So, and we've got people who call themselves lawyers who are actually offering to doctor up their applications to stay in the country so that they can remain in the United Kingdom, because they're inventing stories about them being tortured and abused in their home countries. Yeah. Well, you've got to say to yourself, who is doing this? Have a look. Have a look on the news. It'll be on the news tonight, talking about these so-called legal professionals. Have a look. I'm not racist myself. I don't believe in it. I think it's a disgrace. But when you have a look, you'll probably start to think there's something amiss here. Believe me, there is something amiss. The Home Office, the Ministry of Justice, have lost the plot. They don't know what to do. So they've got these gang of intellectuals that are sat round a table, a think tank, and what can they come up with? Because none of them have actually seen any life, have they? Try a couple of years in the British Army with a pack on your back and march across Dartmoor in the pissing rain. See how you feel about the ultra low light emission zone then. It's the song Dinger time. I'm going to sing, not today. I'm going to read you a poem. I like this poem actually. It's I believe it's about deciding upon your pathway in life. You know, which way you're going to go. I mean, am I one for the girls? Am I one for the boys? You know, that kind of decision. This is called The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both, and be one traveller long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as far as that passing there had worn really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves, no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I ever should come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken. Don't forget to get my book, folks. And thanks, like and subscribe, all the rest of it. Tales from the Jails.